Well, thank you for joining me. I'm Tom Laux, Communications Director, City of Marshfield. And today I'm doing a candidate interview with Ken Bargender, and he is right now representing District 4 for the Common Council. And we're going to have an election coming up here real soon, and he does have a person against him, called Brian Varsho. District 4 is the district that he's in. Well, thanks, Ken, for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me. I look forward to having this interview and answering all these questions that you have here today. Hopefully people have a better understanding of what I do here at the city, and they can make an informed decision.
Alrighty. Well, thanks again for coming. Well, let's get right into it for our viewers here, Ken. Let's hear a little bit about yourself if people have not had a chance to meet you.
Born here in Marshfield 57 years ago. I was raised on a family farm just outside of Marshfield in the Bakerville area. I am a 1981 graduate of Marshfield High School. I've resided in Marshfield since 1990 when my wife and I got married, and we have one adult son. His name is Kevin. I have a business background in the automotive industry, owning a local auto dealership here in Marshfield for many years. Currently, I'm a self-employed online retailer and a financial investor. I have been a public servant here in the city for the past 12 years.
Alrighty, well, we thank you for the time on that. It's very important. Your district is District 4. What part of Marshfield, for our viewers, would that be?
Well, basically, the outline is West 5th Street, everything south of West 5th Street from Oak Street all the way down to Holly Avenue, and then take Oak all the way to 14th Street and then back to the west all the way up to Lincoln Avenue. So it's a mostly residential area.
All right. Well, you began this process in 2019. You were elected as the alderman for District 4. You did have some experience. I believe you were on stuff with EDB. Is that correct?
Well, actually, I was back, I believe it was 2008, I started. I was asked to be on a board of appeals, and I served on there for a while, and then there was an opening on historical, and I got on historical because I have a background in history. Really like military history, and I like the history of the city of Marshfield. Then there was an opening on the Board of Review, and I served on there for a couple of years. In my second year, I was asked to chair the Board of Review, and I did. After that, I thought, well, I've got some experience now. I'm going to step up, and I'm going to run for alderman. So I ran against, it was a soft campaign against Gordy Earl, and I had nothing against Gordy Earl. He's a great person. It was a soft campaign just to get my name out there, because I knew Gordy was getting up there, and he had served a number of years, and that he was thinking about retiring from the council. So following year, I ran unopposed, and here I am today.
Yeah, 2 years almost to the date, a little bit less, because we're taping this here on March 2nd. But if you think back of the time that you gave oath, I remember that. I just started as well.
You did. I remember talking to you about that. You moved up from Wisconsin Rapids and put together a communications committee here, or communications program here. And that's moving along just great. Yeah,
and we have a lot that we enjoy about it, and we enjoy working with you as well as other aldermen. It's really important, a part of the process of our communications team for the city of Marshfield. Well, let's talk about some of these issues that you might be locally passionate about. You got into this because you like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the business background, it makes it a lot easier, okay, because the city it's a business and a service-oriented. There's two entities: the business side and the service side. So, being a businessman for 35 years, it really made it easy to work with the business side of it. And providing services, I had the experience being a public servant, I had a touch of that experience, but I gained a lot of knowledge on the service side. The services we provide to citizens in exchange for their taxpayer dollars. So that's why I'm doing it, and basically it's giving back. I've lived here in Marshfield area all my life. Like I said, in the city here since 1990, and I went to school. My wife works here at the high school, and we're giving back now. So that's. I mean, I'm not doing it for the money. Like I talked earlier before we got on camera, but no, it's nothing to do with money at all. It's just giving it back and trying to make a difference here in the city of Marshfield, and I think I have.
All right, and Marshfield is what you call home, and
right, absolutely, and you want to take care of your home. If it's your home proper that you live in, or the home or the city community that you live and work in, you want to take care of it.
Now, your business experience, past 25 plus years, I bet that helps you a lot with coming to meetings, and they last for quite some time. Really, as a business owner, you just don't leave at 5, do you?
No, I'm used to working outside of the normal business hours. Especially being self-employed as an online retailer, that business runs 7 days a week, so 24 hours a day. So sometimes I'll be asked answering questions and dealing with people on the other side of the world at midnight. The hours that don't really bother me. It really does help being self-employed that you're awfully flexible, but it is quite demanding. There's a lot of hours involved in a week. A lot of prep time and that sort of thing. So you can understand what's going on. So prep time is very important.
Yeah, definitely. And in our next question, we'll talk about committees you serve on. It's not just a common council either. But if you're just joining us here, this is our candidate preview with Ken Bargender. He's District 4, and he's running again for the alderperson position against Brian Varsho. Again, Ken is the incumbent that is looking to fulfill that seat again for 2 more years. Well, let's talk number 5 out of about the 17 questions I have. If, again, our public here is joining us, which, again, we thank them for watching. If you win the election, there's committees, and I believe the mayor chooses some of those aldermen that would serve on a committee. Maybe you can share what you're doing now, and then maybe what you would like to serve on if you win.
When we have a reorganizational meeting after the election, the city hands out a sheet, and it has all the different boards, commissions, and committees on, and you pick kind of what you want, okay, and you put them in order by preference, all right. So basically, they divide the city up, the council, I should say, in half, okay. So half will serve on budget, personnel, and finance, and half will serve on public works, and I've chosen public works. I kind of like the streets. I kind of like the infrastructure. I like dealing with the vehicles because I have a background in that industry. Maybe I would switch over to budget, finance, and personnel. But I think my strength. I like to always go with my strengths, and my strength, I think, is in public works. From there on. I serve on the Central Wisconsin State Fair as a city rep. I also chair the Fair Commission that deals with the buildings and grounds there. The other one I do is historical. Like I said earlier, I like historical, and we have a really great committee. We met last night. We met for an extended period of time because it was one of the first meetings we've had in person, or a hybrid meeting, they call it. We have a lot of exciting things that we want to get accomplished here this year and next year with the 150th anniversary or centennial of the city of Marshfield. So, I'd like to really actually, kind of stay on what I am right now. If the mayor chooses to move me around, that's his prerogative. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've been busy on those committees again. It's not just a 10-minute deal. It takes a lot of time. You get agendas sent to you by the clerk's office. That takes time to look through before you start, right? Yeah,
like I said a little bit earlier here, prep time is always important. I get on the city email. I get maybe 50 to 100 emails a week. and a lot of them have to do with what's going on between meetings, of course. And I get all the agendas, and then it's not just the agenda; it's the packet that goes with it, and it gives you a background and stuff. So it takes a lot of time. Sometimes, like for a council meeting, on a weekend prior to the Tuesday council meeting, I'll spend an hour and a half going through the packet, because we also have the consent agenda, and we're reviewing all different boards, commissions, and committees, and then we vote on the consent agenda to pass those motions and those committees. So, yeah, there's a lot to it. There really is. I mean, but you get used to it after a while. At first, it seemed a little bit overwhelming, but after a while, it just becomes more of a routine, and you just get used to it. So.
Yeah, and like I say, it does take a lot of time to commit. You're saying that you enjoy doing that, want to do that. Do you hear from your constituents often?
Probably at once, twice a month, I'll get a call or occasional email. I follow up with them as soon as possible. Spend quite a bit of time talking to them on the phone, addressing their issues, and I think I've addressed all their issues and solved their problems or answered their questions. Makes it a lot easier after you have at least 1 year under your belt here on the council.
Most definitely. And I bet, before you were serving on the council, you saw yourself as like the public person. So
sure.
And wanted to maybe talk to Gordy Earl at one time.
Sure. Yeah. I talked to Gordy Earl. I talked to officials serving on some of these other boards and committees. I would interact with those staff members and council members to a certain degree, and that just made the transition from those minor committees and commissions onto the council. It made a lot of difference, because I knew about half the council and I knew about half of the staff here at the city.
Yeah, definitely helps when you get to know the people better and a lot more comfortable doing that, sitting up there. It's not so easy. It looks easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. So, but we don't want to scare anybody away either from serving. It's really important we get that.
It is.
Yep. Well, let's talk about Main Street downtown. That's a really important piece. How do you think it's going? Is it healthy, successful? Our businesses down there. One thing is, I've always admired Marshfield way back from the day I came through here in the 90s. Said, wow, they have this great downtown, and I think they still do. I think it's still there. And you see a few businesses that are not there, but generally, that in my perception. But what about yours?
Well, I think the downtown has come a long way. The facade program has helped a lot, making it more historical. Main Street and the Wenzel Family Plaza have made a whole lot of difference. Erin Howard, she's very much on board with doing keeping the historic districts and keeping the downtown viable. Those folks have invested a lot of money in our city. Erin recently got on the Historic Preservation Committee, and she's been a great asset to our committee, and I hope she serves for many years to come.
Exactly. Erin is great, and her husband as well.
Right.
She, I believe, have that J.C. Penney building. I think it was J.C. Penney's, if I remember right.
The building next door to it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I'm not from the area, so it's kind of hard, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, the Blodgett House. Blodgett House. Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, they've done all the renovations. And revitalizations have been great.
Yep.
I mean, I visited some of them, and I'm just amazed what they do.
Mojo's, I think, is another one.
Yeah. Now the building next door, and the backside of Mojo's is office space for the Marshfield Buyer's Guide, Hub City Times. I've been in those. They're great. Those people do it. They're awesome.
Yeah,
so.
We just need to get a dozen more of those.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
There are, and it takes time.
But we have a great historical committee here in the city, and you're going to see a lot more of that coming up this year.
Definitely. And like you said, the facade program really keeps the history alive here.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. In the 50s, 60s, 70s, especially, they were covering up all those nice brick facades and with paint and metal and that sort of thing, and now we're bringing that back, you know, and creating a nice looking historical type downtown.
Yeah, and then in another 50 years when we're not here, it'll change again.
I hope it never does. I really do.
No.
I really don't see them changing again, but
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, you never know.
No, but you guys are putting some good infrastructure in place.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're on the council helping our planner, city planner.
Absolutely. We work close with Bryce Hembrook, and he's a great asset to the city. You know. So.
All right. Well, that's great. Let's talk about new homes, existing space. We kind of touched a little bit on businesses.
Sure.
You know, what do you see the most important? Growing our area for new homes, commercial, both?
Okay. I've noticed that we've had quite a bit of development, especially here in the last year with the low interest rates. There's been a lot of multifamily units put up. They're kind of concentrating more on single family right now. We're working with area contractors and developers, and I think you're going to see some developments here in the near future. So more single family developments. One of the big things I think that the city needs is the existing residential revitalization program. Some of our areas of the city are looking a little shabby. I mean, these areas, these homes here are 100+ years old, and you know, I'd really like to see you know, working with those homeowners in some type of program, grant program, or a low interest loan program or something like that, matching funds, something like that, to revitalize some of these homes, you know, so they can put new windows, siding, roofs on, you know, clean up their yards, whatever it takes. But I think that's very important, that we don't forget those areas of town. We always think of business, we always think of new construction, but we never really talk too much about revitalization. And I think that's something that, if I'm reelected, I really, really want to start pushing in this year in 2022.
All right. Well, like you say, it's important not always to tear down.
Right.
And keep what you have, but revitalize it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, cost of new construction is very, very high, and you know, a lot of these homes can be saved yet. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
And some of those are built so tough.
Right.
You know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the walls are true 2x4s or 2x6s, and yeah, they're built for the long haul. There's no doubt about it. They just need a little TLC to bring them up to date.
Yep. And if you can get some kind of grant program or something.
Yeah. If we can work through the state or federal government to, you know, get a grant program and get those funds out to those people, and yeah, it's something that I think we really do need. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the second part of our questions. Again, I'm speaking with Ken Bargender. He's our incumbent District 4 Alderman, and we're getting a chance to go through the questions for the spring election, which he's on the ballot, along with Brian Varsho. Let's talk about transportation. I believe we have a cab company here.
Yeah, we have a cab company. I believe that's out of Sparta. It's Running Incorporated. I think we recently renewed their contract with them. Things seem to be going pretty smooth. I haven't had any complaints. Steve Bark hasn't addressed any complaints to the council. So I think, you know, right now everything's running smooth. It's running.
Well, that's good because you know, the people need to get around if they don't have a car.
Absolutely.
And it's relatively not that expensive.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the rates are. I don't use it myself, but I'm sure it's very economical ways of getting around the city.
And it's common for a city our size not to have a bus service anyway. It's very similar to have this. Rapids has something similar.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, a bus system would be very expensive, and it probably, you know, if you had regular routes, it would be probably pretty difficult to get enough ridership to justify the investment. So I think we're doing really well with right now contracting that out. Just to let people know that the city does own all the vehicles that the taxi service uses. So
they do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we own all of those, and we replace them as needed. So.
Okay, and that would come up in probably like a finance meeting and a council meeting.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, great. Okay, I didn't know that. That's something I learned here. That's really...
Those are all things I learned.
Yeah, you don't know.
Being on the council.
That's right. Let's talk about getting residents engaged in government. That's always the talk. You hear it a lot in local politics, even state. Is there? How would you get more people involved, or do you not see it? Do you see the need? How about that?
Well, absolutely. There's absolutely a need to get people involved. I mean, sometimes we do have problems filling our commissions, committees, and boards. We're always looking for it. Surprisingly, on our, we created an ethics board, and we had a multitude of candidates. I mean, it was kind of hard to pick. I mean, 3 or 4 candidates out of, I think, 7 or 8 applicants. I was very impressed by the amount of applicants for that. That is a very important committee to be on. There's a lot of other committees and commissions to be on, and you'll see notices on the city website when there's openings, and I want to get those mentioned at some of the council meetings, especially coming up now in the reorganizational time. People do resign, they move on, and there is openings. You got to just watch. And I mean, you can call down to the city clerk and ask her, or any council member, if you want to get involved. And I encourage people to get involved. I mean, I got involved 12 years ago, and here I am, here on the city council.
Well, you're giving me an idea, Ken, of on the city website that we should have not just our own job openings, but openings for committees, commissions.
Absolutely.
We should have a section that says current openings.
Absolutely. It'd be a really good idea.
I don't think we have that, but that's how we learn, because we chat and talk about things.
Absolutely.
So I will put that on our radar and try to do
Awesome.
that here before our reorganizational meeting, which is, a month and a half?
Yeah, I think it's April 20th.
Right after election. So
yeah.
We'll see where we go with that. Well, let's talk about financial stability. Wow, you came in 2019, I came in 2019, and everything kind of changed, right? The finance, not your fault, not anyone's fault. It's just that hard decisions here.
Yeah, I get on the council and this stuff's thrown right in my lap immediately. All there was. The funds were used in the general fund. They weren't used to pay off on the TIF districts. It amounted to a few $1 million, and now how are we going to fix this? And Ron Allman has done a great job. He works with Ehlers, and they worked together, and they came up with a solution. And unfortunately, part of it was raising taxes, and we did make some cuts, but unfortunately, we had to raise taxes to get back on track. And I thought it was a little early to raise the taxes that much. I didn't vote for that tax increase. I wanted a lesser of a tax increase, and for this year especially, and then incrementally, raise track till we get back on track. And I think it's important that future councils incrementally raise taxes, even if it's 0.5% or 1% or whatever it is, because the cost of doing business goes up every year. So that's about where we're at right now. Right now we're back to where we should have been years ago, and it's unfortunate. I don't like paying taxes no more than the next person. I am a taxpayer here in the city. I own a number of properties, and I don't like doing it, but sometimes it's necessary. And But hopefully we never have an increase of that magnitude. I'd like to see very small incremental increases as we need it.
And a lot of your decision was, we're in a pandemic, and it's not easy for people. That's part of it, I know. I think from hearing you, if I'm right. But let's lead right into the next question about pandemic. The cities had to do some things with the pandemic, close City Hall to the public, and some of that was, I believe, voted on by the council to be. How do you think things are going? Would you done something different or kept it the same? Hopefully we don't all have to go through this in our lifetime again.
Heavens no, I sure as heck don't I hope not. I think the Steve Barg and the council and the mayor have done a good job. They got a lot of information through the Marshfield Clinic Health System, how to do things. They implemented a lot of changes. Obviously, they closed off the City Hall to the public, mostly City Hall to the public. Voting definitely changed. I mean, I took advantage of in-person absentee voting. I think that was a great idea. I know the street department moved some of their equipment, and so all the employees were together in the morning or in the evening. Yeah, I think it's worked out pretty well. I think it's going to be. We're looking at probably opening up here now in the spring and maybe there'll be some small changes yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to opening up City Hall and having people attend the council meetings. I mean, it kind of feels weird that you go to a meeting and there's no public there. I mean, sometimes there is public there, but a lot of times nobody shows up because they're like, well, can we come to the City Hall? Can we? You look at the doors and they're all papered shut, and then big notices on there, and it's like, well, can we even walk in this place? So yeah, I want this to come to the end. I want people to be able to feel comfortable coming to the council meetings and interacting with the council.
Yeah, this is their city.
Absolutely.
And we do work for the public.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
So the taxes pay a lot of this stuff and the people's salaries here to do these things. So it's really important. And the next question, you have a passion for that. I don't want a passion for this, I should say. You brought it up. You really want to get things looking nice, and you mentioned that earlier. So let's talk about ordinances like junk cars, and I know you brought it up at some committee level.
Yeah, I've been an advocate to clean up some of the blighted properties and so-called junk vehicles here in town. We're working with ordinance officers at the Marshfield Police Department and staff at Developmental Services, and we're identifying those properties and vehicles, and we're contacting those homeowners and seeing what we can do to help them. Building inspectors, building services will help them. And, we're not out to get anybody, but, there's a number of properties that, are quite blighted with tires and vehicles and old refrigerators, and they don't stick out, but if you drive down at some of the alleys, you'd be amazed how many vehicles and stuff and garages that are in dire need of help, and some of the homes are some, like I said earlier, some of the homes are pretty rough in some areas of town, and we want to work with the homeowners and stuff. We're not out to get anybody. We're not out to fine anybody. We don't want it ever to come to that. We don't want to fine people, but we want them to take pride in their properties, and because in the city you live in close proximity to one another, and your neighbors are affected by how you maintain your properties.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, you're hoping that you get back on, that you can help educate.
Absolutely.
And provide opportunities, like you earlier stated, about grants for these kinds of, that maybe they can't afford it. They want to do it. You said you're a property owner as in apartments or that same with those that you want to help those guys out too, the apartment building owners.
Sure. We'll do whatever we can, but we're probably going to concentrate more on residences, private owned proproperties, and I'd like to see that. I know there's been some. I've noticed some really good revitalization of some historic properties here in town, and I want to get those people some recognition because they've worked so hard. Taking some of these older properties and revitalizing them and stuff, and it's just a huge asset to the city when people take care of their properties. And their neighbors.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to make your neighbor mad. Then it's no fun to live there, right?
Absolutely not.
No.
Your neighbors are very important.
Yes.
We all need to look out for one another.
Exactly, and everyone helps each other.
Absolutely.
You get stuck in your driveway and you're
Absolutely.
You might need a push.
Right. Absolutely.
It happens. So let's also talk about relationships. You have to work with staff here, and the staff has to work with you. There are times of dialogue, which is totally legal to do that. It's not a quorum. It's when you're talking one-on-one.
Sure.
How do you foster relationships and better dialogue so when you come to a meeting, things get done?
Okay, like I said earlier, we have an agenda and we have a packet, and sometimes it's you read this and maybe I don't really understand, why they're doing it this way. So I'll give Steve Barg a call during the week, or maybe a department head during the week, and say, hey, why are we buying this, or why is it, And they further explain it to me, and then we go to a meeting, and it just goes a lot smoother. When the elected officials are better informed, they can absolutely make better decisions for the city. So
Yep.
keeping an open dialogue is very, very important.
All right. So, yeah, definitely. You're telling me that you want to continue working with staff,
Absolutely.
and vice versa. You like the open dialogue. It's
Absolutely, it's very important
Great.
to doing our job. Yep.
All right. Well, let's talk about your district. Anything in there that you want to bring up that might be happening in District 4?
Like I said earlier, District 4 is on the west side, mostly residential. I guess it's just important to maintain the streets and services that the city provides. It's like I said, it's pretty much residential. It's pretty quiet on the west side. Not a whole lot going on. We have some churches and that sort of thing, but yeah. I mean, it's a great place, great district to live in.
Yeah, the west side. So in a nice area.
Yeah.
Things are maintained well.
Yeah, we've got Weber Park down there, which is a great asset, 38 acres, and trail system through there. I encourage families to use that, and I've seen a lot of use in 2020, more use than ever, because I am an adjoining property owner to Weber Park. And we're going to extend it. We're going to be extending the walking path from Sycamore down to the north side entrance there, so it'll make it a lot safer for residents in that area. So I've been a big advocate for that, and we got a lot of grant money from the state, and that'll be implemented here, I think, in 2024. So
nice. And I believe that was just spoke about recently on the council. And
yeah,
I don't know if there was action on it or not at that time.
If I recall, just kind of getting a final approval and stuff with the state to get that grant money coming. I think Dan Connect actually got it moved up about a year. He does an awesome job in public works. I mean, he's an awesome person. Personally, he's an awesome person. He works very hard. He's a huge asset to the city of Marshfield.
Yeah, he's been here quite some time and knows his area.
Yeah.
You say one road, he knows where it is.
Yeah,
Tom too.
Yeah, Tom Turchi. He knows everything. Yeah.
Yep.
You want to know anything about the engineering and the streets? Tom Turchi's the man to go to.
Yeah, because you don't see under them, but they know what's under them.
Oh yeah, they know everything. I mean, so
it helps. It definitely helps
absolutely.
to have that connection, and I can see why you do like public works.
I love public works. I really do. I love those guys. They're great, and I like the people that I serve with on the public works.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the city's communications department again. It's new in the last. It's just not even really just a little over 2 years. Starting a new department isn't easy, but not just the communications department, but just overall communications between everyone, city officials, projects, programs, ideas, apps, you name it. There's so many things out there.
Yeah.
What's any suggestions that you want to think of or provide?
Like you said, you're new. You guys are still gaining traction. You're a two-man team, and you have your committee, of course. But it's all been new, and the pandemic has set you back some. I'm sure there'll be a lot more going on here comes late spring, early summer, throughout the fall, and then in the years. You've got a lot of experience. You've worked at this for 30-some plus years. I'm sure you guys will get it going really well, and any help you need, you just have to reach out to the council, and we're seeing there's making a difference in the communications. There's a lot of venues to communicate, and with the city and vice versa. I don't see a real. I think it's going pretty well right now.
All righty. Well, I appreciate you coming by. Anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, I guess every day I work hard for the taxpayers of the city of Marshfield. I always look ways for saving them money in our purchases here in the city, and I scrutinize a lot. I ask a lot of questions. especially in public works. You know, we're spending millions of dollars every year of taxpayers' dollars, and I do ask a lot of questions, and I have implemented some cost-saving measures when it comes to vehicles here, purchases, and repurposing police vehicles here, and potentially saving taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars a year versus going out and buying new and selling our police vehicles at auction. I know there's tens of thousands of dollars worth of savings just there alone. So, I mean, people want me back. I'm willing to come back, and I'll work hard for them for another 2 years. Definitely.
Well, you sound like the business owner. It costs money, and every dollar counts.
Absolutely, it is very expensive to run the city, but the council scrutinizes just about every dollar that's spent. And I personally scrutinize them too. So I think we've got a pretty good council, and I look forward to working with them again in the next couple of years.
Alrighty. Well, thanks again for coming by and sharing that information to the voters of Marshfield, and a little information about yourself as well. And good luck in the election, Ken. And
thank you.
In the next month and a half on the council, there's still a lot of important stuff yet for you to do.
We have a lot of things to do.
Big amount. So we will touch base with you again, possibly after the election. We'll see where it goes with your the candidate Brian Varsho, which we'll be having on as well. And we'll let it go and kind of see you over at council meetings yet, and you'll be able to be heard there. You can tune in on those, and you have a council meeting tonight. So.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
All right. Well, it never stops here. Thank you for joining me on our candidate preview with Ken Bargender.